Thank you so much for checking out this free video. If you don't mind, please click like and subscribe. All right, we got to talk about these two shows. The Dynamite was the follow-up to Dynasty, and it opened up with the Jon Moxley promo, where essentially he continued the storyline of, we got the greatest roster in history, but these guys can't get their act together when the chips are down. He says, they'll excuse themselves without addressing the real problem. They don't really want it, and we will scorch the earth of anyone who wants to call themselves a contender. And then he brings up the Young Bucks, and he says, I'm king of the front lines. I don't recognize you guys anymore. You better figure it out and be really careful before you make any moves. So they're all heels, but Moxley does not like these guys, is the story they're telling at this moment.
Or at least doesn't want them. I mean, look, it felt to me like that they were building up them teaming up.
Well, I mean, if we're out in blood and guts, I mean, I guess we'll see who's involved, because the trios titles would probably be up in a match. But anyway, it opened up with Moxley and Shibata.
Well, the Young Bucks did a promo.
No, that was later.
Yeah.
Moxley and Shibata did a match, and the story here is that it was a very different sort of match. It wasn't like your traditional match. There wasn't heat. They just grappled back and forth, and Moxley sold and sold and sold for this guy. And finally, he gouged the eyes behind the referee's view, put him in the choke, submitted him, and then afterwards, then the Young Bucks came out. And they got in the ring. They had a stare down with Moxley. Marina got between them. Moxley said, let's get out of here. So the Bucks then cut a promo, and they say... First, they asked everyone to give it up for Moxley, and Moxley's just baffled, like, what are these guys up to? So Nick says, everybody was asking why we did what we did on Sunday. We have a couple of reasons. First, we did it for our good friend Hangman Page. He said, Page never wanted Swerve to be champion. We did that for you. We don't forget who our friends are. We love you, Hangman, and we know that you love us too. And then Matt took the mic, and he says he wished Moxley would stick around to hear this. They wanted to do a peace offering for the Death Riders. They had more in common with Moxley than he probably thought. They also wanted the locker room to rise to the occasion. They wanted to change the world. And
yeah, basically said that we have a lot in common. We both want the same things out of the company.
Yep, said we took over, or Moxley took over AEW, took the title, something we couldn't do. He said, can you imagine if the Death Riders and the Elite would work together as one? So Jon Moxley says, come out so we can talk about this. So instead, out comes Kenny. And this guy did a bizarre promo. First, he talks about...
That's where I thought, like, the show just didn't feel that organized. Because it just felt like this promo was... I mean, I was trying to figure out what the point was.
Well, the point is that he said the last time... You guys talk about all your friends, but the last time I saw you, you were kicking me off a stretcher at the height of my diverticulitis. And then he says, I came back, not for revenge, but it was for my legacy and the future of the company. And let me tell you about you guys. And then he tells this bizarre story involving Shih Tzu dogs that appear to have been written by, like, the WWE writing team trying to make Vince laugh.
There was a lot of WWE-ish stuff on this show when it came to the promos. Especially for the Ospreay and Mark Briscoe thing, too, later. I mean, it just felt... And a lot of talking on the show. It just was... It felt different. The other thing on the show was... They were going back to this... We're trying to restore the feeling thing. And essentially telling you that yeah, we're we've lost our way, but we're trying to get it back. And it's like, I don't know. They've done this before. I don't think that's the right message to send. Like, yeah, we used to be hot and now we're not. Especially because they're probably doing better than they've been doing. But they went back to that again. And like I said, there was a lot of... I just felt the show was off kilter in a lot of ways. They had some good... I mean, the 8-man tag was a really good wrestling match. Real good. But it just felt between that and... Like, when it was over, other than the tournament and that 1 6-man, I didn't feel like they were building anything directly. and there were these long talking segments that didn't really focus on anything, and really, maybe they're the beginning of long stories. But I was
this is clearly the beginning of a long story, because they're putting together who's going to be where. But it was still... So I'm not even done yet. So Kenny's doing this weird stand-up routine, and then he wants to fight, but out comes Okada, and then Swerve's music hits, and he comes out of the crowd, and he starts to cut a promo, but then Pac jumps him from behind. This entire segment went like... If you count the Moxley match, I think this whole segment went like 25 minutes between the match, the post-match, the Bucks interview, the Kenny interview... Are you heading to Las Vegas for WrestleMania? If so, clear some time on the calendar because we have a lot of great events. It's our annual convention, the WrestlingObserver.com/F4W online convention in Las Vegas this year on WrestleMania weekend. April 18th, Friday, April 19th and 20th. We got special events every day. Friday will be the Dave Meltzer, Bryan Alvarez live Q&A. You can show up. We've got a meet and greet. Perhaps we'll have some merch, and you can ask us any question that you would like at the live Q&A. This will not appear as a podcast, a video podcast, audio podcast. You can only see and hear the Dave Meltzer, Bryan Alvarez Q&A if you attend live. That is April 18th at noon at the beautiful Palms Resort Casino in Las Vegas. We will also have wrestling watch parties. Have you ever wanted to watch wrestling with Dave Meltzer? 2 wrestling watch parties coming up that weekend, as well as 2 after parties. What is an after party? It's exactly what it sounds like. After WrestleMania, both nights, you'll be able to come back to a suite. I'll be there, Dave, a bunch of other friends and subscribers, and you'll get to party. We'll have alcohol, food, and more. These are the after parties after WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. If you want to go, you got to buy your tickets now. Tickets available for everything at f4wonline.com/Vegas. Easy. f4wonline.com/Vegas. Did I mention we're going to have a group dinner at Texas Day Brazil? It's an all-you-can-eat steakhouse, all-you-can-eat steak. I hear some of you right now, I don't eat meat. Doesn't matter. They have the best salad bar you'll ever see. Texas Day Brazil. You can grab your tickets for that meet and greet / dinner as well. Where? f4wonline.com/Vegas. See you there.